Welcome to the first live stream sprint review of my little Scrum experiment for Sprint 2. Was hoping to do it for Sprint 1 as well, but no such luck, I'm afraid. I'm opening it 2 minutes early, just to make sure it's open and everything's working as intended, so I'm just going to check on my little tablet here. I've got it running just to be safe. See if it wants to cooperate. Maybe, maybe not. We're not sure. There we go. Look at us. We're live. Very nice. Alright. And now we're going to give it till maybe 1 or 2 minutes past the hour. I'm usually harsher than that. I usually start right on time, but because, well, this is new. People might need some time to connect and realize it's happening at all. So we'll give it until 2 or 3 minutes past, and then we'll crack on with the sprint review. See what we've got. Make sure I move everything that shouldn't be visible out of the way. Probably a good shout. Hey, welcome, dearest viewer. Very happy to have you. Welcome to the sprint review. I've done a quick little intro, but of course, if you weren't here, you wouldn't have seen it, but that's okay. I opened 3 minutes early after all. We're just going to give it until about 2 or 3 minutes past the hour, just because some people might not have seen it, or they're trying to figure out how on earth to actually join. And until then, glad to have you. If you'd like to join me in the mural space, there should be a link to the mural in the description, and if not, let me quickly send it in the little chat here as well. Right, here we go. Should hopefully all be visible now. We are 1 minute past. It's a nervous time for me. Will anyone join? Lots of people join. This is the scary part of putting yourself out there, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done. I can't assume that people will find this valuable, and then it turns out I'm just putting junk out there, so hopefully I get some real feedback, make sure I'm actually doing what people want to be seeing, things that'll actually contribute some value to their lives. Steady at least. Future sessions, I might see if I can be brave enough to even have an open Zoom call that people can join. But for now, that's too much setup within the time we have allotted. So we'll focus on this and then make it fancier. Should the need call for it. Hey, welcome, beloved stakeholder. Very happy to have you. All right, we are 3 minutes past the hour, and as promised, that's when we'll crack on. So, thank you very much for joining. You should hopefully be able to see a little link in the chat. I don't know if YouTube keeps it or not. If not, I'll send it again where you can access the mural should you so wish. You don't have to, because I'm going to be sharing it all on the video feed anyway. So what are we doing here today? Well, we're looking at the outcomes of Sprint 2 and seeing where we want to go next? Where do we think we can add value? What do we want to avoid doing? Any changes we should be aware of, etc. Now I invite you, if you would like to, you're free to add your name and perhaps contact details. Usually name is enough because I can hopefully find you on LinkedIn or something else. And that way I can make sure you're poked and prodded in the future for any future questions and queries, etc. If throughout this you have any ideas of how to make this a better experience for yourself and how to add more value to you and perhaps for myself, feel free to add to the idea box. Also a great place to add ideas for future product backlog items in general. Now that said, this is a sprint review after all, and we have all of 56 minutes left, so let's make the most of it, shall we? What is the goal of all this? Well, the goal of the Scrum experiment and what I'm doing here is to try and have my first own public course run, which I'm hoping will be enabled. My hypothesis is that it's enabled by getting 10,000 or more views of my plugs and video content on YouTube, LinkedIn, and my own website, etc. And now, to be able to run a course, that requires at least 4 or more paying students. Now, I've run plenty of public courses before on behalf of others, but never for myself. And that's the tricky part. Can I actually get it so that my own business gets enough traction where I can run my own public courses? That would be a wonderful, wonderful thing, and will enable me to do more other fun experiments in the future. This is the product backlog. It's not the greatest, but it's there, and I'll keep building on it and adding to it, and it will be updated here as I do it. So if you're ever curious what on earth is here, you can always check in. Now, what actually happened this sprint then? That's a great question. The outcome of the sprint was the following. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, what is the agenda? Well, it's this quick little intro and a quick little mural walkthrough. So I'll talk you through the mural very briefly. We've shared the protocol. I've skipped ahead in my agenda. Very nervous, as you might be able to tell. Then, once we've gone through the outcomes, I'd love to get your feedback on what you think. Right? Feel free to add it all in the chat, add it on the mural. You should be able to add sticky notes. It should be an editable link. And then we'll see if there's any changes we should be aware of in the marketplace. I'm seeing AI all over the place, for example. Is that something I should be worried about or concerned about or looking into? Then we talk about where to go next. What would you like to see next? Where are the problems and needs that you have that you think I can help you bridge the gap of? That's the idea, at least. And then, if I have time, we're going to update the product backlog and then close the sprint review. And that's it. Now, quick mural walkthrough then. Let me zoom out. It's a nice big mural. You can see here, you've got the stakeholders again. You can add your details there should you want to. You don't have to. The idea box where you can add any ideas for how to make these events, the mural itself, and of course the product backlog even better. The Scrum team, well, as you can see, I'm a Scrum team of 1. It's me as product owner, developer, and Scrum Master at this point in time. And you've got some links to my YouTube and LinkedIn should you want to connect with me there. I've got a working agreement put together between ourselves, hopefully. Pretty straightforward, you know, focus, openness, respect, courage, commitment, the good old-fashioned Scrum values. If I do get a Zoom up and running in the future, I want to make sure that we're staying on mute if we're not speaking. Elmo, if you think I'm rambling on about stuff, even now, feel free to put a little Elmo in the chat, and I'll make sure to shut up and move on. But we'll use Elmo, the enough let's move on, the politer version. As you can edit, you can add and remove things that I haven't locked. So I ask you to please only delete your own things. So should you be adding stuff and you see other stuff on here, please only delete the stuff that you added yourself. Make it a much more pleasant environment for everyone. Now I can of course go back and unremove stuff that you accidentally removed. And if you did, just let me know and I'll do that. But in general, just try and avoid deleting other people's content. And I just like this general idea of not attributing ill will to lack of knowledge or information. So if you think myself or another stakeholder are being silly and you think we're being mean as a result, chances are it's not because we're trying to be mean. It's because maybe we just didn't know better. We were lacking some kind of information. And perhaps you can help myself or that stakeholder bridge that gap. It's the idea, at least. And if you're curious about what the future might look like, this is where you can find the future sprint dates, the timings of the different events, and the dates they fall on. Now, February is a special month. That is when my beloved wife has her birthday, so of course I'm not going to be running anything over her birthday, which is why it's on February 16th instead, so it's adjusted for the sprint. Now, these are all of course subject to change based on what I learn during this experiment. It might be 9 sprints, it might be more sprints, it might be less. Maybe I need to extend the durations, we don't know. And maybe some of the timings will change. if any of that happens, this will all be updated as well. Now then, on to the juicy stuff, the product goal and the product backlog. If you missed it before, because I see we have another wonderful person joining us, the product goal is right here. And again, if you think it's rubbish, let me know, because then I can change it. But the idea is that probably by the end of March, I'm hoping to achieve this. Now I have in fact scheduled 2 courses in February. The first one mid-February, the second one end of Feb. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can achieve it even in February. That would be fantastic. This is the product backlog with a little legend, so you can see what are the items on here and how to read it. So everything up here is at the top of the order, and it goes down like so. And then once we run out of space, it continues this way and then this way. And if I've got just rough ideas, I'm adding them as a little thing right here for me to kind of expand on later on. But the color coding still remains. And then you'll have the sprint backlog and the sprint goal. Now, as you can see, I managed to finish 2 product backlog items. I primarily work, as you might be able to see in the back of my camera feed, I work mostly physically. So I like having sticky notes. It helps me with my ADHD to have them in front of me and tactile so I can interact with them. But for the sake of transparency, I will also be making sure for future sprints, I mirror those things right here. The only things you might not see here is me reminding myself to do the laundry and stuff like that. Personal items will not be on this, only work-related ones. And my definition of done. This is the definition of done, my commitment to quality for anything I deliver. And as you can see, it's got a couple of items here. I'm not going to spend too long on it, but you're free to look at it in your own time. And again, if you think any of this is rubbish or should be better, and you're not happy with the kind of quality this would deliver to you, because this is after all, again, why I'm doing this, right? For your sake, to get value out of it. Then let me know, and I'll look and see if I can't tweak it and make it even better. And if you love your measures and metrics, I've got some here. I'm trying to use evidence-based management. The tricky thing I have is because I've just started this, and I've been so lucky to have a lot of work and things fall in my lap, I don't have a lot of these baseline measures, like customer satisfaction gap. These are things I'm hoping to bridge in the future. Now, in fact, got some product backlog items that might help me bridge this knowledge gap and make sure I actually know how satisfied or not are my customers and what can I do about it. And so on and so forth. Now, I will in the future make this better, so it's not just showing the current state, but per sprint, so we can actually look at the improvement, hopefully, over time as we do this. And then that brings us back to the actual sprint review itself. So, I realize I'm waffling a little bit. It's not as fun as having you in a room with me, because then we could be talking back and forth. Maybe I can improve that in the future, who knows. But what were the outcomes of this sprint then? Well, the outcomes of the sprint were all of 2. Scheduled training. It's more of a task, really. I'm still working on improving my product backlog items. But what it does allow me to do is actually validate my assumptions, right? If I don't have them scheduled, well, then no one can book them. So they are now on scrum.org, as you can see here. If you want to have a look at it yourself, you've got the class search, which leads you directly to this search result on scrum.org. And they're also up on my website. And again, you've got a direct link to that training page right there if you want to have a look at it. You're free to interact with that in your own time, or right now to give me feedback. Let me know if my postings look rubbish, if you would book them, what would you like to see different, or what should I keep doing in terms of those bookings. I also managed to get a visual out the door, a way to start using Scrum visual that is available as a PDF on my website. I believe we have had 5 downloads, so someone must be thinking they're valuable because it is being downloaded. So I'm quite happy about that. Again, you can find it right here, and you can also find a video of me talking through it. That is, after all, part of my definition of done is any visuals, any content I create will also have a video attached. The reason I want to do that is because, 1, not everyone enjoys reading, and 2, some people might not be able to. They might have some kind of vision issues or problems, or maybe they just want some noise on in the background to learn about stuff, and then hopefully they can put on a video with my content as well to learn the same concepts without having to either read a long blog post or look at a visual, or just have me talking through it with a bit more detail perhaps. Some other outcomes, well, my first videos were created, uploaded, and my first streams happened. So I had the YouTube channel created before the sprint, but I didn't have anything on it. So I finally, as of this sprint, actually got some stuff out there, which I'm very, very happy about. And first sprint review actually streamed I was hoping to do it for the first sprint, but full disclosure, transparency and openness and honesty and all that, it was my wedding anniversary, which I had forgotten about for the first time ever. So, quick life check and reorganizing of my product backlog, so to speak, was let's scrap it. It's not going to happen. A failed sprint, so to speak, and we'll try again for the next one. So that's what happened. And that brings me to the feedback. This is what I've put together. Would you like me to go through any of it? Would you like to look at it in your own time? Do you have anything you think I should know about to make this even better? I'd love to know. You can put in the chat. You can put sticky notes on the mural. Anything at all is super helpful. Do, as you're having a look around and thinking, for those who don't want to go into it, let me just open up some of these on your behalf and I can show you what they look like. Now, of course, you know what the stream looks like because you're watching a stream right now, so we don't need to do that. Glad to hear you like the videos. Very happy about that. I might add that on your behalf to the mural if you don't want to do it yourself. Bit of lag between YouTube and mural live feed. Your mouse mural is delayed. Ah, that is very good to know, actually. Okay, so video idea is good. I'm gonna add lag between mural and live feed. That is very good to know about. Absolutely. This is where the blog post is. You can use this little button to download it. It downloads a PDF. I tried setting that up all kinds of ways. I was trying to set maybe an email could be sent out, but I'm not one for mailing lists. I don't know about you, but there's so much spam out and about that I want to avoid that and having some kind of direct download instead. So this is a preview and you can download the full PDF for your use. And the blog page where you can kind of go to, it looks like this. Obviously only 3 things there right now, but over time that'll fill out a little bit. And I'm trying to use this filtering system as well, and maybe I'll add a filter button in the future, but I'm by no means a web developer. I am rubbish and awful at web development and I don't enjoy it. YouTube is lagging versus the post. Ah, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That YouTube would be behind the feed. Yeah, I was hoping I'd put it on the lowest latency. I can't change it without ending the live stream. But for future live streams, I will make sure to do that. Use lower latency settings. And hopefully that'll help. Thank you so much, G. Really appreciate it. Now, if you're wondering what the training page looks like, it looks like this. You get the different courses I do offer. This one is coming soon. I've got most of it done. I just need to get that across the line. I'm holding off on it now until there's actual interest in it. This is what it looks like. This is what the actual postings look like the professional Scrum Master. Ta-da! Nothing too fancy. I've considered rewriting this. Maybe it's a little bit dry, a bit dull. Considered also adding in a little quick video explaining how I do the training, either here or on the training page. Maybe with some examples of the mural or the physical spaces I work through, just to give people a feel for what it might be like being in one of those training sessions. But again, not sure if that's of value at all. Just a consideration I've had. Do I have the live chat enabled in YouTube as well? I should do, yes. The chat should be in YouTube. So I can see the chat here on my screen. So look at that, we've got 4 people. Very, very happy to see that. Welcome, welcome to the sprint review. We're just getting some feedback on the outcomes of the sprint. Interesting. Okay, maybe an intro about the different training guides. All right, cool. Yeah. So when you say training guides, are we talking about different formats of training or the different styles of the different courses delivered? Ah, okay. So what they all kind of enables or delivers in terms of learning. Okay, yeah. That sounds like a good idea to me. Ah, okay. Who it's more geared toward? Okay, yeah. Absolutely. Very cool. Very good idea. Very good idea. Now, it might help, and perhaps I should clarify this somewhere else. My intent is to gear myself much more towards beginners. There are so many fantastic experts out there, and that's not where my strength lies. My strength lies much more in helping beginners get started and learning these concepts. That's where I find I tend to thrive in my delivery of stuff. So that's what I try and do. So that's a very good idea. So why PSM instead of APS? Why PSPO instead of PSM, etc. Also, hello, Graham. Very happy to have you here. I wish I could say great to see you. I can't see you, but I'm happy to see you in the chat. We're just going over the outcomes of the sprint. Getting some feedback. Right, so we've got some good feedback. Feel free to add more as you look through this. Anything and everything is of massive value. This is the tricky thing working as a, lone wolf, and that's not the word I'm looking for. Self-employed. If you don't have stuff, you don't have people to bounce ideas with. So any and all feedback you have is super, super valuable. Hey, very nice. Right. So, next step then, business and marketplace changes. Are there any business and marketplace changes we know about? Oh, fantastic, the journey. Yeah, absolutely. I wait to start using Scrum Journey. As some of you might know, I use it when I deliver my courses to explain Scrum, and again, a way to get started with it. And the intent is very much for that, for people to be able to refer to or share with others, which is why I added that. What's it called? It's not copyright, it's the other one. Creative Commons, for people to be able to share it, because that's what I want. I'm doing this for the benefit of, hopefully, anyone looking at it. Now then. So we know AI is a big disruptor. It's a big disruptor. The question is, what can we do about it? What can we learn from it? Other big marketplace changes? I mean, we obviously know Christmas is coming up, right? Christmas and New Year's. In fact, that's worth just reiterating. So this next sprint is a longer sprint. It's actually starting, well, technically right after today, but I'm doing sprint planning on the 19th, and we're actually coming back after, I believe, 3 weeks on January the 6th for the next sprint review. So it's a longer sprint to account for holidays. I'm taking time off as well. Is there anything else we should be aware of? Sure, there's too much, but again, if you think of anything that I haven't thought of, let me know. I'm not sure what to do with AI as a big disruptor. I feel uncomfortable at the thought of using it to create content art-wise, because I believe it's a big ethics issue around, well, plagiarism, quite frankly, and lack of attribution. And with text, I don't know, there's something, to me it feels disingenuous to add content out there, claim it as my own by using AI. Weekend out of hours courses, yes. That is a good shot. I have considered that myself. Because when I was contracting as well, it was very much one of those things. Do I wanna lose 2 days worth of billing or 3 days worth of billing and go on this course, or what do I do? I don't get in trouble for the 14th of Feb. That's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. I love this. That's a great point. That's a great point. Any competitors doing something similar? In terms of this experiment, or in terms of the work I'm delivering, so in terms of content and courses? Because obviously with courses, there's all of Scrum.org. There's all the trainers on Scrum.org delivering similar trainings. I believe I differentiate myself by having primarily non-software experience, and again, really helping people get started, right? Really grasp the core concepts and focusing on the important basics. That'll set them up for success. I care less about fluffy, fun tools, as much fun as they are, and more about getting the core ideas right. Ah, the experiment. Not that I know of. No. Not that I know of. This experiment is in part because I've always loved the idea of being very transparent with my business. Also, most importantly, to actually get real feedback. You know, I practice, or I preach in my courses and in my coaching that, you know, we need to validate our ideas, and until we've validated with our customers, we don't know for sure if it's valuable or not. So I can have all these ideas for content and courses and, you know, ways of doing it, but if no one actually wants it, well, then there is no value to it. So this is my way of being able to be transparent about it, validate my assumptions as soon as possible, and, you know, it sounds silly, and again, it's me being a bit more vulnerable here. It actually helps me a lot, right? By having people like yourselves to interact with, it gives me a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. Instead of shouting into the void, I have people to actually interact with and do this work for. That's why I say you are my beloved stakeholders. That's why I do all this stuff, because I want you to succeed. So the question is, what do you need from me to help you succeed? That's what this is all about. The experiment is just my perhaps a bit too out there way of trying to accomplish that. But I'm not seeing anyone do it quite this much. I'm happy to hear that you love the experiment. I'm liking it so far too. The idea is to see how transparent I can be, you know, without getting into legal trouble, so to speak, with my business. Because I do think it's a genuine benefit, not just to myself, but to potential customers and stakeholders. So, we've covered most of the important stuff. We have the feedback, which is great. Again, you're always welcome to come back afterwards to add more feedback, either here, although more likely in the actual idea box space. But now we're going to see where do we want to go next. So this is what I had in the product backlog for now. My Be More Crab, you know, it's a slightly silly post or silly name, but around the idea of evolutionary convergence of ideas. That is to say, what are the key ideas that really enable success when we're trying to do complex work? It's hopefully there to help alleviate people getting into this from feeling like they want to make sure they pick the right thing, right? Is it Scrum? Is it Kanban? Is it both? Is it neither? Is it safe? Is it Spotify model? You know, and instead of getting stuck in this analysis paralysis, they know that, hey, just do these core practices, let the rest evolve as you figure it out, or use one of them as a way to, you know, get the funding and buy-in from your business, and then tailor the rest as you learn more. Waffle House marketing is a kind of based on the idea of the Waffle House business in the US. They don't have a marketing budget. All they do is they check where do Walmart open up locations, and then they set up a location nearby, because they assume if people go to Walmart, they're going to spend some time there and they're going to be hungry, so they're going to go to Waffle House. The idea then is to find larger related businesses, interact with them, and use that to test ideas. And the ideas that get traction, that people interact with and find useful and valuable, those are things you might then turn into further content, like a blog post or video, or maybe expand into further conversations. Now the good thing is it's a win-win, right? The people who posted that, they get more engagement with me being there, they get more value by me adding on to their conversation, and I get benefit by making sure I validate ideas. I get more engagement as well, and the people watching it get value, because the idea is not to just throw rubbish out there, it's to throw ideas that you think are good and seeing by validating them by releasing if they really are or not. So the idea is to do that for at least 6 more days, see if it works or not. I've done it for 2 days, but not enough to consider it done. Seems to be okay, to be confirmed. I hate marketing. I feel very unclean when I do it, but that's a me problem that I'm working on. So we'll see what happens there. And then scheduling some courses with a client. I'm not going to put the client name here because they haven't consented to me sharing their client name. But I'll put in a suggestion for 2023, which will hopefully be 9 or so courses that might go into my schedule. Fingers crossed, we'll see. And then additional service offerings. Right at the moment, I only offer training. I don't offer any other services, and I'm honestly not sure what else to offer. To caveat that, during COVID, I got quite burnt out on Scrum Mastery and Agile coaching. And for now, I'm not ready to go back to that yet. So I'm thinking, what else can I do? Is it physical products? Is it, I don't like paid mentoring, but some other kind of ad hoc coaching I could do, that would be quite fun. Both in person and virtual. Not sure, but the idea is to figure out what do people want and can I offer that? Because single revenue stream is high risk for a business, right? And right now that is what I have, a single revenue stream. So I'm trying to patch that up so I can sleep better at night. Another blog post idea, you think you do but you don't, which is about releasing. Again, it's part of the basis for this experiment, which is I think the ideas I have are good ideas, but I don't know. You know, I think they're valuable to my potential customers, but I don't get to decide that. They do, by interacting with it and letting me know that they find it valuable. So that's what I have in mind right now. In terms of what I might be able to get done for next sprint. Probably something like this, these 3. This is quite a large blog post. I might have to break that down into smaller pieces. And based on some of your feedback down here, I might do some of these. Some of these are a bit more, you know, task-based. They're not larger outcomes as such. Okay, add navigation column mural. That's a good point. Yes, I will use the outline function in Mural to make that better. I put this together last night in a hurry, thinking, how can I make this not boring? So that is definitely something. Other than that, I'm not sure where to go next. Just more content, a bit more marketing, drum up more noise. Feels a bit boring, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. Where do you think we should go next? By the 6th of January, should you come back here, what would you love to see as an outcome? So we should probably make sure everyone's looking at the same space. So let's move everyone over here. So we can look at the same stuff. So you've got some example templates you can use here, or again, you can just write in the chat or random sticky notes. What do you think by the 6th of January for the next sprint review, what would you love to see as an outcome? What would you love to see and that would give you value? Imagine you paid money for the work I'm doing. What do you think would be a good return on investment? In future, I do plan on adding a cost per sprint, which would be a rough estimate. But that way we can try and figure out return on investment as well, which would be a pretty fun experiment. Seeing some work happening around the idea box, love to see it. And this mural is open all the time, by the way. It will be open if the experiment goes well. I will likely continue doing this, so it might be open in perpetuity, so to speak. And regardless, it'll be open at least till the end of March. So if you have an idea but you don't know how to formulate it, don't worry about it. You can always come back whenever you have a moment, right? Whenever you feel like, you know what, I've got an idea. I want to see Oscar try this thing. Or even if it's something that's been done before, but you'd love to see my spin on it, if you think there would be value in that, add that as well, right? The reality is almost everything's been done already, right? It's the nature of the world. What does they say about art? It's all there's nothing original out there anymore. It's all rehashing, rethinking, reframing, and that's okay, right? That's just part of it. But what do you think my style of framing things would benefit from? Or what would benefit from my style of framing things, rather? Is perhaps what I mean. Look at what I'm seeing here. Okay. Expand to specific techniques to agile adoption. Oh, I like the sound of that. All right, yeah. So I've considered a video format which I'm calling another take, or perhaps if anyone's watched the 5 levels of X, there's like 5 levels of physics, 5 levels of music theory, etc. And I've considered something similar with, or I have a 5 levels video of different concepts, different techniques perhaps of, all right, what is estimation in 60 seconds or less, then maybe 5 minutes, then a 20-minute video, and then maybe do a full hour session and perhaps invite someone else to have a conversation with, someone who might be a bit more expert than myself on the topic, to talk about it. Help. I'm hoping that's not you asking for help. Do I need to call emergency services, or is that something mid-sentence? Ah, there we go. Yeah, okay. I don't need to call the emergency services. That's good to know. That's good to know. I thought G might be in danger there. I think it's G writing that. Yeah. Real life examples with the theory. You know what? That's a good point. That is something that's asked for a lot. And I'm rubbish at doing white papers, so maybe there's a better or easier way I can do it. Sometimes beginners can't relate to theory. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, the requester is optional. It's great if you want to put it there, because then if I have questions or want to see what you think about it, if I've started working on something to get your input, I might be able to reach out. You can always tell me to bugger off. That's always welcome or allowed. We can also leave requester empty if you're uncomfortable with the idea of putting your name to this stuff. Because again, this is anyone who finds the link on my LinkedIn or YouTube can find this stuff. So don't put information you're not comfortable sharing. It is a very, very transparent, very raw environment and experiment. Actually, I've just had an idea for something I want to add to the definition of done. Although I think I might already have it. Let me just double check. Added any attributions and sources. Yeah, that is in my general one, but I might actually expand that to say that if you contributed the idea here and I can identify who you are and you're comfortable me adding your details to a blog post or video as a hey, thanks for the idea or thanks for letting me know, I'd love to do that in the future. To again, maybe it helps get your name out there. Maybe it's just nice to see that you've helped contribute to something as well and that your idea was indeed taken on and worked on. Really like if I can be so bold. So both those expand channel specific techniques and real life examples, they're great ideas. I love those ideas and I would love to do them. They're very big. They're very big ideas. Can you think of what would be the to use annoying, slightly coachy language, what would be the next most valuable thing that I could do to get closer to that larger outcome? And it might be best to frame it from your own point of view. What would you love to see? What would give you value if I did it? More course dates. All right. Last minute. Wow. Okay. Very bold. You know what? That's a fair point. That is a fair point. I hadn't considered that. Oh, okay. There's like a 20-second delay between live and the YouTube feed. All right, that's quite a chunky delay. I don't know why it's so large. I'll have to definitely look into that. It's a bit excessive. At least between my camera feed and live. Okay. So we've got, that's 2 ideas now for kind of weekends on timings, and then also during Christmas season, Christmas holidays or holiday season. Use all the words. Eventually I'll be right. All right. That's making me nervous. It's making me think it's a good gamble to run. The worst that can happen is that no one books it. The best thing that happens is I run a course over the Christmas holidays. All right, I'm gonna strongly consider that one. I'm gonna strongly consider that one. See how I can get that sorted. Yeah. All right, that's cool. I like that. Putting me on the spot here. Okay. Well, I think what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna do this here. I'm gonna move this one. I'm gonna color code this one to blue. You're welcome to add to it later on. But I'm going to move this one to the product backlog and challenge myself to see if I can actually try this. It's a scary one. Let's call it the last minute training. Bam. And then what I would love to see is yeah, if you can think of some examples of these that I could start with, or even just an example that you would like to see me start off in terms of a real example that you perhaps struggled with. If there's a technique you'd love to see more about, I'd be happy to look into that and maybe see if I can get something out there over the next sprint, because that would be pretty cool. But I think other than that, I've just got to say thank you so very much for your time. It's been a genuine pleasure and privilege having you join. And as much as I'd love to keep you on and just milk you for all the information and knowledge and feedback that you have, I believe we've reached that Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule point, where I could continue stealing all your time, but it wouldn't be fair to you. So I'm going to say thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Again, I might reach out in the future during the sprint. Again, you can always tell me to go away just to get your input on something. And if there's anything else you would like to add to the idea box, again, you can always go to the mural and do that at any point. Thank you all so very much. It's been my pleasure. I'll see you for the next sprint review. Or if you're feeling extra adventurous, you can join me during sprint planning on Monday at 9 AM UK time. But chances are you've got other things to be doing at that time. So thank you again. You take care. Scrum on.